Hi, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Maddox AI Plus Post Sales Summit. You are currently watching Turn Enablement Resources into Digital Success Campaigns. I'm excited to introduce our speaker, Samantha David, Senior Digital Program Manager, Customer Success at Vectra AI. As I introduce Samantha, I'm going to have them answer our icebreaker question: what's one AI use case you wish existed but haven't seen yet?
So been thinking about this and I'm in the final stages of wedding planning. My wedding's in about a month, so definitely wedding planning, but like it's been hopeful, but more of like the decision aspect of it. So knowing everybody's opinion and then like helping with that. So I don't know if that's even possible, but that's what I want.
Nice, sounds good, and congratulations. Samantha,
Thanks.
I'll pass it over to you.
Cool. Well, awesome. Let's go ahead and get started. Cool. Well, welcome everybody. My name is Samantha David. I'm the Senior Digital Program Manager of Customer Success at Vectra AI. Vectra AI is a network detection and response tool for cybersecurity. It started within the last 9 months, so building out this segment has been fairly new and a great adventure. So a lot of today's learnings are going to be through what I've applied in those 9 months directly, but I design and deliver those scalable experiences that enable our users to get the most out of our product. I'm mainly focused on our Tech Touch segment, but majority of our programs that I'm building are available to our entire customer base. So today I'm going to share some of those practical strategies for using ChatGPT or really any conversational AI tool to accelerate the creation of our digital engagement content by using what you already have in front of you. I'll cover why this content is important to the customer and why it's a process that needs to be scaled and ways to set it up using your own AI tools to develop more effective content. So first, let's start with what digital success is in case we're unfamiliar and just to get a line before we dive in. So this is a cross-channel strategy that's designed to help our customers continuously realize value from their investment and achieve their desired business outcomes through data-driven and automated engagements. So really what we're doing is putting the right content in the right place at the right time. This type of approach can be applied far beyond any type of low-touch segment. It can really be used by any customer success team. These strategies can be used in scalable outreach to your entire book of business as a CSM, or even just to one account that's enterprise level. Maybe there's hundreds of users. Still, same scalable outreach strategy. So, as I've been building out this motion recently, I've broken it into three core pillars that I'm thinking about. First, we have mapping the customer journey, which is defining that ideal path for the customer by identifying key milestones and behaviors, really what our version is of what good looks like for the customer. Next is establishing our success signals. So, defining what those signals are that tell us if the customer is either successful or not successful. Are they getting it or not getting it? This can be adoption metrics, usage metrics around a specific feature, or really just their engagement with our support function. So, are they opening our emails? Are they coming to our webinars? Are they reaching out to support? Are they engaged at all here? And then our scale quality engagement content as our third pillar, and the one that we're going to dive into most today. This is the development of the content that we place throughout our journey based on the signals. So we'll use the journey map and those signals to determine what piece of content is triggered to the customer and through which channel. And if the content that we're using to engage with our customers is not good, then our journey map and our signals don't matter at all. So we need all three to be working together to really drive the success of this one-to-many format. So in digital success, we're creating more content, distributing to more customers. But when it comes to that third pillar, there are a few common issues we run into. First one, by spending more time or time building out our content, instead of thinking about it at scale, we're moving further away from the customer. We're in the weeds more. We're not learning about the customer and their journey, and we're just spending too much time in this one area. We're also spending too much time on fixing the content to fit our evolving needs. This means that we're working more on a one-off outreach instead of aligning to a greater engagement strategy or our customer journey. And then we don't just have enough time to make updates, but we're using our existing content instead and make or using more static content. So we're just copy and pasting old campaigns and hoping that they're still relevant and not using AI or using our scalability to be able to optimize the changes that we need to make. So enter AI. So AI is here to help us solve that scalability problem. And this is nothing new. We all know the tools that we have in front of us, but I'm here to discuss a really impactful way to use your everyday AI tools. So I'll walk us through what's important to consider when we're building engagement content and how we can truly optimize this process with the resources that already exist. So let's start here with establishing what makes good content based on our customer and based on our product. So this may be different for everybody. And if you use an AI tool every day, then you know that garbage in equals garbage out. So we need to clearly define what these requirements so that we can get the responses that we want in return. So the more intentional the inputs that we give it, the better foundation that we have for all of our client-facing programs that we're creating. So let's start with the first one, personalization at scale. So the content is designed to be relevant through segmentation like audience, persona, account size, objective, desired outcome, usage data, whatever you want to use to really personalize and be relevant to the customer. Next are cross-functional alignment. So what does that look like to reflect the most up-to-date messaging and priorities across all go-to-market teams? We're all constantly working and evolving, and we need to stay aligned and have the most updated messaging when it comes to marketing, our support, sales, and product. So what does that look like? And journey driven by design. We're constantly thinking about the customer journey framework here and where the content needs to be placed to best support the customer at that stage. This will allow us to really communicate more effectively and gain the customer's trust even faster. Being adaptable, maintainable. So the content is dynamic to evolve to our product changes, maybe go-to-market messaging, our customer needs, and our internal priorities. As we all know, things change very rapidly and we don't want to build everything from scratch. So how can we maintain the most up-to-date content? And staying outcome focused, our main goal with the customer is to get them to do something. So what do we want them to do after engaging with our email? Is that going to be viewing a resource, registering for office hours, watching a webinar, scheduling a meeting with a CSM, performing an action in the product? Whatever that is, we need to make sure that we understand it so that we can clearly communicate it. Okay. Let's get into how we can optimize this process to avoid making the same request to ChatGPT and over explaining what we need over and over again. So we're going to create a custom GPT here. I'll walk through how to build a custom GPT. This for this one specific use case and one that you can copy and repeat for other types of use cases as well, and show you how to establish that right foundation so that you can easily iterate and evolve as part of your overall engagement strategy. I want everyone today to walk away with some actionable next steps and how to apply this directly to your own use case. So feel free to follow along on your end, or you can come back and watch the recording more slowly. And I'll use ChatGPT, but also these principles can be applied to really any conversational AI tool. But if you haven't created a custom GPT before, this video here is showing you how to get started, or where we're going to start on the next step here. But go to the Explore GPT on the left-hand side, and then create, I think it's create new, yeah, in the upper right corner. And then that's where we'll be starting to fill out the configuration criteria. Okay. Go. Okay, so we're going to break down each of these fields because this is very important when it comes to the setup, so that we can build that good foundation for every single response that we're going to be receiving. Remember that these can be updated. We can iterate if we're not getting the response that we need, but knowing what they're used for is important so we can provide exactly what they want. Okay, so first off with name, this should be purpose driven, so it immediately tells users what it's here for. And remember that this GPT may be not just for you, but your entire team, organization. It can be shared amongst other users, and that's the benefit of it, that building this out does not just benefit you, but the optimization of your entire team. So make sure that's very clear to them too. Next is our description, and I would think of this as our elevator pitch. We want to give this an overview of the purpose and also the why. Why does this exist? And if the description is the why, then the instruction field is the how. This is where we're going to teach it how to think and respond. We can use this to establish rules, workflows, criteria, response formats, everything in here to be followed to benefit our response that we receive. This section has the biggest impact in the quality of the response. So I'll break down this further, but just remember here that garbage in equals garbage out. We need to be very detail oriented in here. And then our conversation starters. So this is a curated list that we create of prompts that are going to help users get started quickly, so that they can start engaging with the GPT and receiving responses right away. I've pulled these from our real use cases, past conversations, and encourage you guys to do the same. Just think back onto what you've engaged with in the past and what you're constantly asking. Okay. So this is an example that I've set up in the past for my own role to get me started. I have a couple different ones that I'm constantly testing and improving and evolving. But this is just one example for today's purpose. So let's start with what I have in the name. So this is telling my team exactly what this is used for. This is the digital engagement content builder. So pretty straightforward here. Next is our description. So our description is telling us that it'll be used when we're creating engagement content, but the why is going to be the impact that it has on customers. So we can see that what we want to impact here is driving adoption, increasing awareness, and accelerating our customer outcomes. And maintaining that, making sure the GPT knows that that's our goal is super important. And then we'll reiterate that in the instructions. So I'll go through everything that I have in this field on the next slide because it is pretty lengthy, and that's by design. But first, I want to go over these 4 sections that make it easier to break it out. So first, the role. The role will tell the GPT who it is and what expertise they should bring. Next, we have our objectives, which are the set of rules to follow to get the best results. Our input requirements is the information that you need to provide so that it has the most context to know exactly what you want. And then the output structure. This is the response framework to define so you get exactly what you need every single time, and there are no more follow-up questions or less follow-up questions asking for those needs. And then our conversation starters. So remember, these are prompts to help us get started quickly. I pulled these from my past conversations with ChatGPT just by asking it, hey, what do I ask you the most? What are my common questions that help me get started here? And what I see as part of my daily role. And this is always changing too with our role, what projects we're working on. So that is okay if we're constantly updating our prompts, but these are meant to accelerate our time to response. So let's dig into the instruction field a bit more. So this is following those 4 sections that I just pointed out. So first one is that role. So what I'm telling it here is that its expertise is going to be creating high-performing engagement content that's tailored to our customer. I'm keeping it pretty high level by design because I'm going to get into what that means in the objectives. So the objectives, I'm saying to get those better results, I wanted to follow a couple of rules. It's going to be leveraging the customer journey framework, referencing product resources that I either provide or that are uploaded. I wanted to personalize by the customer size, segmentation, apply our brand voice, be very outcome driven, and really emphasize the value to the customer. For the input, I need to make sure that I'm assigning the phase of the customer journey so that it knows what to work off of. So that is the number 1 here. I need to give it a persona. This is nothing that I want the AI to guess. I need to define the segmentation, the goal I want to achieve here, a potential product enablement resource or one to reference internally, and what I want the customer to do after reading this content. And then for the output, this is how I want every single response structured so that I know exactly what to put where. And with email, we're always looking for the same things. Maybe it's a subject line, preview text, specific points in that email that I need to align across every campaign. But I also want the customer outcome, key message points, and the majority of the objectives that you saw above this are going to be applied in the email body. And even in the email body, I'm telling it to break it up into these 5 sections: a hook, context, recommendation, the value, and CTA. So I know it's hitting all of those points. Now we're going to go back into our configuration details just to finish up here, because this section is going to be really important when we're talking about utilizing the enablement product resources we already have. So the knowledge and capabilities and apps sections will help your AI understand both strategy and your product. Knowledge is what I think of as our library. It's specific material to reference before it responds. This section is going to be really good for foundational guidance that does not change often. So you can see here that I have uploaded our customer journey framework. And this means that whenever I define the phase or what stage of the journey that I want to target with my email campaign, it already knows what type of customer I'm talking about, where they're at, what they've achieved, what they haven't achieved, maybe the age of the customer as well. I don't have to give them details on any of that. It's all defined here. Next are the capabilities and apps. apps. So these really extend what your GPT is able to do beyond just generating responses. It'll search the web, it'll create images, but apps is what I really want to focus on here because this is for more of the dynamic content for your product. So, like technical documentation, release notes, support articles, different trainings, those could be updated and changed just based on your product. So, I would always be, if you can connect to an internal knowledge base, which is what I have here, that would be where you would place that within the apps. You can also connect to email, chat to search for past conversations and information, and then other workflow tools like maybe Figma, HubSpot, um, yeah, any other day-to-day workflow tools just to build more automated workflows to engage with outside of ChatGPT as part of your tech stack. And since today we talked about using existing product resources to build out that content, I want to make sure everyone understands which one of these gives us a better outcome. So, little quick tip here, uploading resources to knowledge is teaching it how to create the content, and adding an internal knowledge base app. So, like the one that we have here, this is our internal knowledge base. It's teaching the AI what the content is about. All right. So wrapping up here, I just want to recap some of the benefits to using this process. So by establishing this framework on how we create content, we can make sure our messaging is cohesive and repeatable across campaigns, teams, segments, and that will really accelerate the development. We can get more value from our resources that we already have. So instead of only using them to inform our customers, we can translate them into assets that are more meaningful engagements that really enable our customers to be outcome focused. And instead of spending more time manually customizing the messaging for every audience or customer stage, we can use AI to tailor or to allow us to personalize instead of just increasing our workload and having to update, because that's not where our time is best spent. It's in the strategy, which brings me to our fourth benefit here is mapping the content directly to the customer journey so we can be more confident that it's delivering relevant guidance at every stage. So at the right place, the right time, and the right content for the customer. So want to challenge everyone to take this on your own. So three easy steps here: defining the engagement success criteria, configuring the components of the or of the GPT, which you can iterate and improve through testing. And yeah, just test that out on your own. See how you can really scale your content creation process.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Samantha. Sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, this is it.
um, yeah, thank you so much, Samantha. We do have a few minutes left, so if you have any questions for her, please go ahead and drop them into the Q&A section. One of them that came up that I believe was already answered, but Tracy asked if this is similar to building a Claude skill.
Great question. I do not have as much experience with Claude just because every organization, since those tools have been available, has used ChatGPT. I want to test more in Claude because I've heard different things. I don't know how the inputs would really affect the output as much. So still same structure, but I think that's what it would be used for. But yeah, I would also just test it on your own.
Another
But
really
I
good
plan to do testing. Yeah, go
Another
ahead.
really good question from Carrie is how do you review whether the GPT is actually improving content quality and customer outcomes over time?
Good question. So using the same types of metrics that you would use even without this. So we should always be measuring just our basic email rates like open rate, click rate. But that doesn't tell us everything. But I would clearly define what we want the customer to do after engaging with that email, and did they actually do it? And how is that? How are we improving that metric? So, are they immediately jumping into the tool and performing that action that you were targeting? Can we measure that within 24 hours of reading or sending the email? Are they increasing their actions? Are they scheduling a meeting? Are they, whatever value is to us and how we measure that, take that control group of the users that open the emails and see and test before and after, and if we're improving those.
Lisa asked, can you talk more on how the AI is doing the personalization? When you say that, do you mean like it knows to send your emails, or more so that it creates the personalized content and then your email campaign program, such as Gainsight Journey Orchestrator, does the actual sending?
Yeah, so right now we don't have the tools to automate the sending of it, and since this process or this team is we started building out this team about 9 months ago, that process is still a bit manual. I want to automate it eventually, but it's really just in the creation. So if the personalization is going to be more in the context of the email and the verbiage. So are we talking to like a SOC manager or a CISO that's more high level, more executive, or for our everyday users? That's what we're personalizing in the email, but also to our tech touch segment and then our enterprise users, because smaller customer, larger customer, they might have different needs as one of our customers, because we just see that in the cybersecurity space that they're just smaller, so they might not have a larger team, or they might be wearing more hats. So we want to speak directly to them versus the ones that have a fully built out security team.
Tracy also asked, have you connected to HubSpot to run campaigns? And I'm assuming they meant, have you connected HubSpot to AI to run campaigns?
Yeah, I've tested it out a little bit. We are not in that stage right now to be able to run them. Um, we're still doing a lot of configuration on the HubSpot side because we're about halfway through building out our customer journey. So that needs us to be in HubSpot instead of just running it through AI. But my goal is to eventually be triggering more through ChatGPT.
Okay, we actually have three more questions. It's popping off now towards the end. Holly asked, as a follow-up, have you seen increased engagement with this new approach?
Great question. I would say we don't have the data yet because this was launched. We launched our customer journey this year, so not a ton to go off of, and that we're still halfway through. We're rolling out the rest of it in the next 2 quarters, and then we'll be able to benchmark where we're at now to where we want to be. Um, but it's really sped up our creation time, and then also our alignment across our team, making sure that we're not going to different cross-functional teams to get insights, or make sure that we have the most updates, or that every single thing that we're creating is on the same framework instead of creating everything from scratch. So it's helped that process, but that's more difficult to measure than just our time. But I want to start analyzing more of the impact on the customer and those metrics once we're a little further on rolling this out and we have more data in front of us.
We have 1 minute left, so I'm just going to combine two questions that I feel are
Okay.
kind of similar. Carrie asked, what helps the content feeling human and true to brand when you're scaling it with AI? And Kristen asked, how do you assess the results, quality, and score of your agent before you send something to the customer?
Good question. We always go through it. I'll always read over it before we send it out, because this is still fairly new too. And as I'm still learning about our product and our in this customer, I want to make sure that I'm applying everything correctly. So reading through it actually helps me make updates to the GPT itself, because I'm still learning with it. So I'll always go through it, making sure it doesn't feel robotic in any way, and that we're getting a set of eyes before we go live until we can trust it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Samantha. And with that, we are at the end of our session. The recording of this session, as well as all the other sessions, will be available tomorrow in our resource hub, and all of the summit attendees will be notified when the resource hub is live. Thank you again to our wonderful speaker for joining us today, and thank you to everyone
Thank you.
else for attending. Bye.